Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here we go again. We're back with another breakdown of the WBE team. Another newcomer to the season with Reversal and the Furious Fishes. Let's hit it. Alright, here we go. Here is Reversal's team out on the left-hand side here. Let's start with talking about the gears. There are two gears for this team, and both of them are aptly named. First off, we have the Plus Ultra gear, as I like to call it, or the Super Speed gear in Gengar, Gmax, and Alakazam. These two can devastate with one another on their side. Obviously, Gengar's Gmax move to lock things onto the field, Alakazam to be able to get those expanding forces off, but I can definitely see a turn 1 Gigantamax with a Max Mindstorm coming out to set the terrain to let Alakazam then do some work with expanding force. Definitely going to be interesting to see how the speed tiers creep out here, but super strong punch ability right out the gate with Gmax Gengar and Alakazam. Our second gear is the Marching Fishies, as I like to call them. That's a Digimon reference for all you people out there in the back. We have Gyarados and Dreadnought or Polywrath sitting next to it. Obviously, Gyarados super strong with its Intimidate, its ability to Dynamax, get those max airstreams off, everything along those lines. But we can also see either or of these Pokemon, probably the Gyarados, setting Rain for Dreadnought or Polywrath, and setting up their Swift Swim to be able to not only get their speed boosted as well, but make sure that they're hitting like monster trucks with Gyarados backing them up. Alright, from the top, let's talk Polka highlights. First off, we have Gmax Gengar. As I mentioned, Gmax Gengar's signature attack, Gmax Terror, locks down the enemy, making it super strong to be able to keep what's on the field currently in there. Obviously, it's a monster of a speedy special attacker, but pretty frail overall. It gets moves like Shadow Ball, Dark Pulse, Energy Ball, Sludge Bomb. It's also got Trick Room to be able to reverse it, and Icy Wind for support moves. So we could definitely see maybe a more supportive set with Max Mindstorm coming out front to be able to set the terrain for the Alakazam and start hitting those expanding forces. Next up, we have Melodic. Melodic, obviously a great option across the board. We've got so many options, so little time for it. But mainly, the majority of people that are running a Melodic nowadays are running Muddy Water, Mud Shot, Ice Beam, Recover. Obviously, there are options to run a Coil set as well for just straight overwhelming the enemy. And also, a special shout out to the Blunder Policy Hypnosis set as well. Missing a Hypnosis to maximize out your speed stat with the Blunder Policy. Really interesting set and really strong too. Next up, we have our Turtle, our Bowser Jr. as I like to call him. We have Dreadnought. Dreadnought, obviously super great Pokemon with its signature ability in Strong Jaw to be able to do extra damage with all of its Jaw and Fang-like attacks, or it could be running Swift Swim as well for the super speedy Turtle. Obviously, standard set for it includes its signature move Jaw Lock, which is another trapping move. Super important, I think, for this team to be able to trap what's currently in front of them and just whittle them down one at a time. Obviously, runs Liquidation, Rock Slide, Earthquake, and Head Smash as well as standard moves. Next up, we have Polywrath. Polywrath is super strong with its physical and bulky prowess. Obviously, it's a Swift Swim user as well. Standard moves include Drain Punch, Liquidation, Close Combat, Protect. It also can run Waterfall if it wants to go for some flinch hacks. Another great set, but also a relatively low speed tier to be able to also function in Trick Room pretty well, which we might see come out from this team. Next up, we have Frostmoth. Frostmoth, pretty frail for a bug ice type. Beautiful overall, though, in its regular and shiny sprite. It's got Ice Scales as its signature ability to be able to limit those super effective attacks. It's good at special attacking. It can run Hurricane, Bug Buzz, Blizzard, Ice Beam. It's also great for setting up Quiver Dances with. It's also going to run actually a couple of different support moves in Defog, Aurora Veil, and Wide Guard for support. So not sure how much we'll see Frostmoth this season, but definitely a great Pokemon to either go on the full offensive side or actually run a support core with that might be very useful. After that, we got our Coconuts, our lovely bunch of them. We have Executor. Executor, I think, is going to be pretty strong for this team in its ability to set Trick Room. If they aren't going for the Swift Swim solution and going for really fast, they could actually run really slow with Dreadnought, Polywrath, Milotic, even like the slowest form of Grapple Locked as well to be really strong in Trick Room. Obviously, other moves that Executor gets: Hypnosis for setup. It can run physical or special sets in its moves with like Energy Ball, Egg Bomb. Not very much a supportive Pokemon here. Not meant to be an all-out attacker, but gonna be super strong, I think, for this team to be able to sort of support with Trick Room. After that, we have our little chocolate chip. I'm gonna ask why here. Just why. The main thing I can see with the coverage here is probably Ally Switch. As stupid as that is for me to say. Obviously, Dedenne, Fairy Electric type coverage. It can run a bunch of different support sets in Volt Switch, Nuzzle. It can also run special sets with D-Gleam and T-Bolt. But the main thing I see this thing really being used for is just to click Ally Switch and kind of juke around the enemy team. I don't hope for this to come that often, and I honestly hope to see a good offensive set for it, because my little chocolate chip needs some good action. Alright, now we're in the meat and potato of things here. We have Gyarados. Gyarados obviously super strong in the meta, has always been in some regard. It is a physical, bulky monster with its abilities of either Intimidate to lower that attack or Moxie to strengthen itself with every kill. Obviously super strong. It runs moves Power Whip, Waterfall, Bounce, and Earthquake. It can also normally run Protect, and it actually has the ability to run Taunt as well to stop those Trick Room users from actually getting any setup whatsoever. I don't think we'll ever see him run Taunt on it, but if he does, it'll be a great support bring. Yet another fantastically speedy Pokemon, our Plus Ultra Gear, coming out in full force here with Alakazam. Alakazam, super fast, being able to hit with those special attacks really hard. Obviously, Expanding Force and Psychic are very standard moves on it. We also have D-Gleam. Reverse Trick Room is potential. It also does get Focus and Energy Blast, just kind of like Gengar does here. So definitely two very speedy Pokemon to be able to come out front and just start smashing damage into people. Definitely want to see that team come out front for the fishes. After that, we have our Luchador and Grapplock. Very slow, but physically strong Pokemon. Obviously, Octolock holding an opponent down again. This is Team Lockdown. As much as he's calling himself the Furious Fishes, I'm calling him the Furious Team that just doesn't want people to leave the field. Because with Octolock, Jawlock, Gmax Terror, he's rocking so many moves to lock something onto the field. If he had gotten Gothitelle, this would have been over and done. But obviously, Grapplock here, strong with its physical moves. It also does get support moves with Soak and Topsy-Turvy. I don't think, again, we're ever going to see these sets, but if he really wanted to throw somebody for a loop, he could definitely go for a Soak Energy Ball combo with Gengar and really smoke something out immediately by changing its type to water and then destroying it with an Energy Ball. And finally, we have the YOLO, or the meme pick, in Eevee. Obviously, this is regular Eevee, not Gigantamax Eevee. I have no idea what set this thing's going to be running. It gets support moves, it gets offensive moves, but I cannot for the life of me tell you what he's going to run on Eevee that he potentially would bring instead of something else on the team. This is a wild card pick if I've ever seen one, and I can't wait to see if it comes for a match, how Reversal and team are going to use it. Alright, let's talk leads. First off, the major leads, as we mentioned before with the Plus Ultra Core, is Gmax Gengar and Alakazam. Obviously, both of them super strong, super speedy Pokemon. The ability to run a Focus Sash on one of these guys and at minimum get one Expanding Force off and something else super strong as well, I see being a great lead no matter what here. Ultimately, the Gmax Terror locking opponents onto the field is also going to be very important as well, especially if they have any signature weakness to any of the four moves that Alakazam or Gengar could be running. Great speedy picks out front, and also the ability to immediately reverse Trick Room if he needs to for teams that are very heavily reliant on it, which about half of the teams this season are. Second, for our lead, obviously, we are talking about Gyarados. Gyarados is just so strong of a lead Pokemon to just bring out front, click that Dynamax button, and start stacking max Airstreams. I don't see any reason to bring Gyarados and not Dynamax it, but realistically, even with a non-Dynamax set, being able to bounce out of the way of things and sort of dodge a move for a turn might be really important for this team. Definitely going to be something that we see either come out front or on the team, I would bet, every week for the WBE. Alright, let's chat gaps. Gaps for this team, I think, are pretty obvious in if they're running the Speed Core and they're not able to maintain a non-Trick Room environment, they will probably be in trouble. Obviously, they have the potential to counter it with Executor, or with Gengar and Alakazam, but I don't think the move slots would be best used to have Trick Room running on all three of them. So definitely important to play around Trick Room coverage for this team to ensure that they do not get outsped by the slow things. Obviously, the match to watch, I think, will be the Versus Network versus the Furious Fishes in their battle of what I will call the lockdown on the field. Obviously, the Versus Network did pick up Gothitelle, so I expect to see Gothitelle on the field and Gengar or Grapploct, and just the amount of lockdown from the various teams coming out here to just be like, who is going to win the lockdown war? Definitely a match to watch coming forward as we go through the WBE. Make sure to catch that one. Alright guys, there you have it. That is the Furious Fishes and Coach Reversal. Make sure you go and check out his breakdown up over here on this side, and make sure you're clicking subscribe on our channel for all the WBE coverage we're doing. Obviously, we're now starting to get into week 2, so make sure you're checking out all the good stuff as it comes out. We'll catch y'all for the next one. Peace.